So I'm going to discuss about the linear equation of differential equation. So you're going to solve differential equation by using linear equation. Now we have two different general formula or general form for the linear equation. It can be either dy over dx or dx over dy. If you have dy over dx, you must have a multiplier of y, then yung multiplier ng y must have a function of x. Then the equation must be equated to also a function of x. When we say a function of x, meaning to say, ang variable mo lang dun sa equation is just x. Or, kapag naman nagkaroon ka ng equation na dx over dy, your multiplier must be x. Tapos, yung kasama niya must be a function of y. Tapos, equated din siya, so, function of y din. Tapos, let's say you have this equation, you can have the general solution for this general form. For equation number 1, which is dy over dx, you must follow the formula y multiplied by the integrating factor equated to the integral of the integrating factor multiplied by the q of x, then that is in terms of x plus c, wherein the integrating factor must be e raised to the integral of the p of x dx. So, kailangan ma-identify mo yung p of x, wherein siya yung kasama ni y. Tapos, identified mo din dapat si q of x. Then, let's say you have your dx over dy. Your formula must be x multiplied by the integrating factor equal sa integral na integrating factor multiplied by the q of y. Then, ang variable mo is y. So, this is dy plus c, wherein the integrating factor for this is equated to the e raised to integral of p of y dy. So, kailangan mo din i-identify si p of y, wherein siya yung kasama ni x, at identified mo din dapat si q of y. Maliwanag po. So, for example, you have 1 over x multiplied to dy over dx plus 4y equals 2. So, let's say you are going to find the general solution for this differential equation. So, if you will notice, this is in the form of dy over dx. Kailangan si dy over dx walang kasamang constant or any multiplier na nakadikit kay dy over dx. So, kailangan i-divide mo yung whole equation, or it can be multiplied by x para mawala yung 1 over x na kasama ni dy over dx. So, let's say minultiply natin siya sa x. The equation will now be dy over dx. So, makakancel si 1 over x. Then, si 4y would be 4x multiplied to y equals na siya kay 2x. So, ito yung sinasabi ko kanina na dapat in the form of dy over dx, then the multiplier y, then you will have your p of x and the q of x. In that form, this is now your p of x, and this will be your q of x. So, after identifying the p of x and the q of x, you are now going to solve for the integrating factor or the if. Now, to solve for the integrating factor, since you are in the form of dy over dx, you have to follow the integrating factor of e raised to the integral of the p of x dx. So, you will now have e raised to the integral of your p of x here is 4x dx. So, you are going to solve this. The integral of 4x dx is simply 4 multiplied by x squared over 2. So, you have 4 at the numerator and 2 at the denominator. Ang matitira ay 2 sa numerator. So, you will now have e raised to 2x squared. Now, this is your integrating factor. Now, after solving for the integrating factor, you will have to use the formula for the dy over dx, which is y multiplied to the integrating factor equals the integral of the integrating factor multiplied by the q of x dx plus c. So let's say you will have to use this formula. You will now have y multiplied by the integrating factor, which is e raised to 2x squared equals the integral of the integrating factor, which is e raised to 2x squared multiplied by the q of x, which is 2x, then dx plus c. Now, you are going to integrate this form. Paano mo siya i-integrate ngayon? So, let's say this is e raised to u du. You will set your u as 2x squared. Now, the derivative of your u is simply 4x dx. You have 4x dx for the du. Kaya lang, the available here is 2x dx. So, you need to insert 2. Then, if you insert 2, you must balance it by 1/2. So, this will become 4x dx. Okay? Now, continuation, you will now have y e raised to 2x squared equated now to 1/2. Then, the integral of this is now your e raised to u. Now, this is your du plus c. Then noted that the integral of e raised to u du is simply equal to e raised to u. So continuing this equation, you will now have y e raised to 2x squared equated to 1/2. Then e raised to u, which is e raised to 2x squared plus c. Now, this can be your final answer or pwede siyang i-simplify through multiplying it by 2. You can now have 2y, then e raised to 2x squared equated to e raised to 2x squared plus 2c. But take note that 2c is an arbitrary constant, so this can be c. So for the final answer, you can now have 2y, then e raised to 2x squared equated now to e raised to 2x squared plus c. Now this is the general solution for the given differential equation. Okay, next, number 2. Number 2 problem is to find a particular solution of the given differential equation, which is dy over dx minus x plus y equals 0. So, we are going to find a particular solution, meaning to say there is a value for x when there is a value for y. In this equation, you will find a particular solution of the given differential equation when x is 0, the value of y is 2. So, this is dy over dx. So, you need to find or to follow this formula. So, in that case, dy over dx. So, ang kailangan mong kasunod is yung may multiplier na y. And this is plus y. So, that will be equated to a function of x. So, this minus x can be transmitted to the other side. So, that would be positive x. So, this is dy over dx. Then, yung kasama ni y ay p of x. At yung equated sa kabila ay q of x. Now, after identifying the p of x and the q of x, you have to solve for the integrating factor, and the integrating factor of that is e raised to the integral of the p of x dx. So this will be e raised to the integral of the p of x here is 1 multiplied by the dx, or simply the integral of dx. So the integral of dx is simply x. So you will have an integrating factor of e raised to x. So ito ngayon yung tatayong integrating factor. Now you will have to follow the formula of y multiplied by the integrating factor equated to the integral of the integrating factor multiplied by the q of x dx plus c. Following the formula, you will now have y, then the integrating factor, which is e raised to x, equated to this one. So integrating factor, which is e raised to x, multiplied by the q of x, which is x dx plus c. Now, evaluating this integral part, you will have to use by parts. But if you will notice, you may use the method of tic-tac-toe. In that case, you will now have x and e raised to x. So, differentiating this part, this will be 1 and 0. Then integrating this part, you will now have e raised to x and another e raised to x. Tapos, getting the diagonal with alternating sign, which is plus and minus. You will now have x multiplied by e raised to x minus e raised to x. So this part is equivalent to x e raised to x minus e raised to x. So your equation now is y e raised to x equals x e raised to x minus e raised to x plus c. This is your general solution, but you are going to find a particular solution wherein you have to substitute the values of x and y for you to be able to find the value of c. Now substitute the value of x, which is 0, and substitute the value of y, which is 2. So you will have 2, then e raised to 0 equals 0 multiplied to e raised to 0 minus e raised to 0 plus c. Now this will be 0. Noted that e raised to 0 is equal to 1. So this will be 2 multiplied by 1, so that is 2 equals 0 minus 1 plus c. So this can be transmitted to the other side. You will now have 2 plus 1, so the value of c is now 3. Now you are going to substitute the value of c to the general solution for you to be able to find a particular solution. Pag particular solution yung hinahanap, it is also an equation. So your answer now is y e raised to x equals x e raised to x minus e raised to x, then the value of c, which is plus 3. Now this is your particular solution and probably your final answer. Okay, next example number 3. You have to find the particular solution of the given differential equation, which is x multiplied by the quantity of dy over dx plus 1 equated to x cubed minus 2y. When x is 1, the value of y is 3. So the target is dapat walang kasama si dy over dx. So kailangan natin siyang i-divide lahat sa x. So you will now have an equation of dy over dx plus 1 equated na to x cubed divided by x is x squared. So negative 2y over x is minus 2y over x. So the formula says that after ni dy over dx, dapat ang kasunod niya is may multiplier na y. So in this formula, yung may multiplier na y is simply negative 2y over dx and negative 2y over x. So kailangan natin siyang ilipat sa kabila. So you will now have dy over dx. So pag nilipat siya sa kabila, it will become plus 2y over x. So in that case, equated dapat siya sa function of x. So mariretain si x squared. Then how about si 1? Si 1 can be represented to x raised to 0. So this is a function of x. So no multiplier of y. So dapat nandun din siya kasama si x squared. So ililipat natin sa kabila, it will become minus 1. So now identifying the values of p of x and q of x. In this case, you will now have your p of x, then the q of x. Now the p of x is 2 over x, then the q of x is x squared minus 1. Okay. Now, solving for the integrating factor is e raised to the integral of the p of x dx. You will now have e raised to the integral of the 2 over x dx. You will now have e raised to integral of e raised to 2 integral of dx over x, wherein dx over x is equivalent to ln of x. So ang mangyayari, you will now have e raised to 2 ln of x. In that case, through the property of ln, si 2, pwede natin gawing exponent ni x. So it will be e raised to ln of x squared. Tapos, through the property of exponential and natural logarithm, e raised to ln can be cancelled. Therefore, ang magiging sagot mo na lang is x squared. So this is now your integrating factor. So following the formula again, you will have y multiplied by the integrating factor. So you will have y. Then the integrating factor is x squared. Equated now to the integral of the integrating factor, which is x squared, multiplied by the q of x, which is x squared minus 1, then dx plus c. Now you will have y, then x squared equated to, this can be distributed, so this will be x raised to 4 minus x squared dx plus c. Now if you will integrate this part, you will have y x squared equals x raised to 5 over 5 minus x cubed over 3 plus c. Now this is your general solution, but if you are going to find the particular solution, you have to substitute the value of x and y, where x is 1, y is equal to 3. So the value of y is 3, the value of x is 1 squared. You will now have 1 raised to 5 over 5 minus 1 cubed over 3 plus c. Okay, simplifying this, you will now get 3 multiplied to 1 is 3. Then si 1/5 pwede nating ilipat, so minus 1 over 5. So ito pwedeng ilipat, so that will be plus 1/3. Siya ngayon si c. So simplifying this, you will now have over 15. Tama? So 15 times 3 is 45 minus 15 divided 5 is 3 times 1 is 3, and 15 divided 3 is 5 times 1 is 5. You will now have the value of c as 45 45 minus 3 plus 5, so that is, you will have 50 minus 3, that is 47 over 15. So the value of c is 47 over 15. Now you will have to use c. In the general solution, you will now have x squared equals x raised to 5 over 5 minus x cubed over 3 plus 47 over 15. Now simplifying this equation by multiplying it to 15, you will now have for the final answer as 15y x squared equals 3x raised to 5 minus 5x cubed plus 47. Now this is your particular solution and this is your final answer. Okay, for the last example, for the linear equation, you have to find the general solution of the given differential equation. That's x minus 2 multiplied by dy over dx plus 3 multiplied by x minus 1 over x plus 1 multiplied to y equated to 1. So, dapat walang kasama si dy over dx. So, i-divide natin yung whole equation into x minus 2. So, your equation now is dy over dx plus, so we will now have 3 multiplied to x minus 1 all over x plus 1, then multiplied to x minus 2 multiplied to y, that is equated now to 1 over x minus 2. Now, in this equation, this is your p of x, and this is now your q of x. Now, you are going to solve for the integrating factor. So, the integrating factor here is e raised to integral of the p of x, which is 3x minus 1 dx over x plus 1 multiplied by x minus 2. But in this case, you will notice that this is hard to integrate. This is under ng partial fraction. So, you will do partial fraction first. So, the partial fraction is 3 multiplied to x minus 1 over x plus 1 multiplied to x minus 2, wherein you can have a over x plus 1 plus b over x minus 2. Now, you have to simplify this equation by simply multiplying it by x plus 1 and x minus 2. You will now get this term multiplied to this term. You will have 3 of x minus 1. Equated ngayon siya to this one. You will now have a multiplied to x minus 2. And this term, that's b of x plus 1. So you will do by degree to find the values of a and b. So you will have first degree and the constant. For the first degree in this is 3. Then this is a, then plus b. For the constant, you will now have negative 3 equated to, this one is negative 2a and this one is plus b. Now, for you to be able to find the values of a and b, you have to subtract the two equations. By subtracting the two equations, maka-cancel si b. So you will now have 3 minus negative 3. So you'll have 3 plus 3, that is 6. Then this will be a minus negative 2a. So that's a plus 2a, that is 3a. So therefore, the value of a is simply 6 over 3, which is 2. Now you may use the first equation for finding the value of b by substituting the value of a. So you will have 3, then the value of a is 2. So you will have 2 plus b. Therefore, the value of b is 3 minus 2, which is 1. Okay, now you will have now this equation. So the integrating factor now is e raised to integral of a, which is 2 over x plus 1 plus b, which is 1 over x minus 2. That is the x. So you will now have e raised to 2 ln of x plus 1 plus ln of x minus 2. So through the property of exponents, pwede natin itong paghiwalayan using e raised to or should I say, ito gawin muna nating exponent. So this will be x plus 1 squared. Then both ln, pwede nyo ngayon i-multiply yung angle. So this will be ln of x plus 1 squared multiplied to x minus 2. Then you will have to cancel e and ln. So the integrating factor now is x plus 1 squared multiplied to x minus 2. Okay, that is just for the integrating factor. Now you will have to follow the formula of y multiplied by the integrating factor equals the integral of the integrating factor multiplied by the q of x dx plus c. Now you will have y multiplied by the integrating factor, which is x plus 1 squared multiplied by x minus 2. Equated ngayon siya sa integral ni integrating factor, which is x plus 1 squared multiplied to x minus 2 multiplied by the q of x, which is 1 over x minus 2 dx plus c. So both having x minus 2 at the numerator and the denominator, pwede nyo cancelin. So ang natira na lang ngayon is the integral of x plus 1 squared dx. Now you are going to undergo the power formula, which is letting u as x plus 1, your du is the dx. So mangyayari, you will have u squared du. So that's u cubed over 3. So you will now have x plus 1 cubed over 3 plus c. Then this is equated to y multiplied to x plus 1 squared multiplied by x minus 2. Then simplifying this, you will now have for the final answer, so that is 3y, then x plus 1 squared multiplied by x minus 2 equated to x plus 1 cubed plus c. So this can be your final answer.